What's up everybody, Tech Chucker here, and today we're going to take a look at the new X-Men Juggernaut Wave Rogue figure. And this is one of the three that is highly sought after in this wave. So let's take a closer look and see, is it worth the money and is it worth the hype? One other note before we get started, I wanted to give a good thanks to another YouTube user of Private. Obviously, I don't know who that actually is, but they noted and brought my attention to the video quality that I've been uploading. Uh, there was an issue that I had with the frames per second, not on the actual production or rendering of the video, which I thought was the issue. It was actually on the video capture, and I didn't realize that it was doing that. So just wanted to say a quick thank you to that user for pointing that out, and so that way then I could go fix this. So hopefully the future videos that I post are a little less choppy. All right, so let's take a closer look now at the Rogue figure. All right, let's take a look at the articulation on this Rogue figure. There's some definite good points and some definite bad points. And one of the bad is definitely the head articulation. She cannot really look up at all, and it is because of that head or the hair sculpt. Forcing it, it's pretty bad. Even looking down is pretty bad. Side to side is kind of hindered because of the jacket collar, but she can look side to side. And there is a little bit of tilt. Actually, there's quite a bit of tilt. So that's nice. I definitely can't complain about the tilt capability on her, but looking up is terrible. In the shoulder, she's got a ball joint, and she can almost get her arm straight out, but not quite. Full rotation of the shoulder, so that's expected, and I'm happy there. In the elbow, there is a peg joint at the top of the elbow, and then there's just a single hinge. She can get just about 90-degree bend, which is great. In the wrist, there's a peg joint and a hinge, and there's no real issues there. And she can curl forward good, and she can curl back very well as also. So no complaints with that articulation. Now we've seen the torso articulation, but I'm not very impressed with the ab crunch. Back arch is pretty decent. We've seen that before. Like I said before, the ab crunch is pretty bad. So there is a little bit of side-to-side tilt. Actually, quite a bit of side-to-side tilt, so that's good. And then the rotation at the torso is also what we'd expect. She can kick about this far forward, which I would have liked to see a little bit better, but we've seen this body mold before. And then backwards is, yeah, pretty well what we'd expect. She can do the splits barely, which is really disappointing as usual. Upper thigh cut, and you can see it definitely doesn't look good with the paint apps here, but it works. And then there's double jointed knees, and we'll talk about the knee sculpt in a little bit, but the actual joint works well. And in the ankle, she's got a hinge joint, which works well on the backward, but pretty terrible on the forward. And then there's an ankle rocker. So nothing too extraordinary about the articulation on this figure, nothing too surprising. So I'm satisfied, but in some ways I'm also a little bit disappointed. So we've seen this body sculpt quite a bit for the female characters, but Hasbro added some really nice extra details in the head. The head sculpt is nice aside from the hard plastic that they use for the hair, which they've been doing forever on the female figures, which kills the articulation. Obviously the hair looks nice. I like this little bandana tail piece. It is just kind of jammed right into her forehead, so that looks a little bit weird. But the overall head sculpt looks nice. I like the jacket. I do wish that the collar was a softer plastic. It is very rigid, hard. This belt is really, really nice. It's very petite, which is kind of nice for the female figure. These wrist pieces, I'm not 100% sure on them. They float, but they are nice, so you can pop them off if you want. They move around. The back of the jacket is cool. I like the way that they did this. Now the knees are weird. I've never seen this before. It is two floating pieces that you can move around to. Um, I don't know this. I don't know what they were thinking about this. This is just. I'm not sure. I mean, it's nice because when you bend the knee, you can move it to cover the knee the way that you want, and you can make it look relatively nice. It's just really, I don't know. I'm on the fence on that. I'm not going to count that against the sculpt on this figure, but I'm also, you know, I'm not feeling it that much yet. But overall, the sculpt, I'm happy with it. There are some additions that Hasbro added to, make this figure unique, but it's still, the standard female body mold, and I'm not super happy with that body mold, and I'm getting a little bit bored of it. Okay, so the paint on this figure is a little bit of a hit or miss, not necessarily in quality, but just what I like. And now the face, they did a decent enough job except for the eyes. You can see there's some nice derp going on her eye. The hair is nice. There's a little bit of shading, it looks like, and I like that the discolored white part on the front of her hair. They didn't get any shading there, but overall it looks nice. I like the X's on the shoulders. Those look good, and then the X on the belt. There's no shading on the costume. As I noted before, the upper thigh cut, it just looks terrible when you do actually move it. But overall, the paint the application is pretty decent for the most part. It's relatively cleanly done where there's actual paint. The yellow seems to all be molded yellow, which is good. Apparently, painting with yellow is very difficult, so it's good that they chose to actually cast it in yellow. I'm not overly wowed by the paint job on this figure. Let's just leave it there. Now, Rogue comes with one accessory, and that is all, and it is this alternate hand, or this ungloved hand. And we've seen this hand before. I believe it was Scarlet Witch that had it, and it just pops off here, and you can just pop it right in. And so, it's nice to have that ungloved hand. It's just very underwhelming. I would have liked to have had maybe an alternate head or anything additional to this, but that's pretty much all we get is just that one hand, which is good. It's necessary for Rogue. As we know, she has to wear gloves if she's going to have any contact with humans. But or I don't know. I'm a little disappointed. All right, so with that, obviously this is a must-have figure, right? I don't think that this is that awesome of a figure. I think it's an average figure at best, in my opinion, because we still have all of the same articulation issues that most of the female Hasbro characters have. The paint is pretty much just so-so. It's not that great. There's definitely some quality issues with the eyes. So this is a very sought-after figure. If you're looking to finish the Juggernaut BAF, you definitely need to get this figure, or at least try to buy the part that comes with her. But if you're not a huge fan of Rogue, I would say this is probably a pass. And I don't know if this is obviously this is going against what the majority of people seem to think, but this to me is just kind of a so-so run-of-the-mill figure to me, but I'm not a huge Rogue fan. So make your own decision. I hope this has been helpful. Make sure that you click to subscribe, and I will see you later.
Tetris Brain Blast.